Welcome to Awakening Streams, the podcast of One River Zen Meditation Center in Ottawa, Illinois. Hosted by Sensei Michael Bruner. Learn more, donate, and practice with us at oneriverzen.org.
Wonderful. All right, so here we are. We're turning the corner on the end of session. So it's such a bittersweet time because all of the reflections that we've had, all of this opening up to our true nature, we recognize it's just always a short shifting gaze away. But it's very easy for the weeds to come back in again when we walk away. You know, there's a very seductive and compelling story we tell ourselves about our life. It's so seductive because we made the story up. We know what we like, yeah? We know what we don't like. So it makes sense that it would be very hard to get out of our head, so to speak. Yeah? That we get stuck there. There's a case in the Shōyōroku, or the Book of Equanimity. It's a 30-second case. It's called Kyōzan's State of Mind. This is a very subtle case. So I want you to be patient with it. Let it work within you. Yeah. You may walk away saying, well, I don't quite understand. To a large extent, that's the point. It's not about understanding. It's about knowing where our attention should reside. Yeah. The case is this. Attention, Kyōzan asked a monk, where were you born? Where were you born? The monk replied, Yu province. Kyōzan said, do you think of it? The monk replied, I think of it always. Kyōzan said, subjective thought is your mind. Objective thought is the environment. Therein there are ideas like mountains, rivers, the great earth, towers and buildings, people and animals. Reflect upon the mind that thinks. Is there something there or not? The monk said, as for that, I don't see anything at all. Kyōzan says, as a belief, that's all right. As a person, that's not at all right. The monk said, teacher, do you have any particular instruction? Kyōzan said, to say I have something particular or not misses the point. As for your view, it only reaches one mystery. In taking a seat, putting on your robes, observe it for yourself, on and on. That's the whole case. There's a lot for us to kind of take a step back. We have to take a step way back to gaze over this entire vista. Huh? It's a long exchange. Kyōzan lived in the 9th century, and he was a student of Isan. Yeah. Isan once told Kyōzan, when thoughts are exhausted, you've arrived at the source. And at the source, that's where your true nature is revealed. We've been talking a lot about this weekend, haven't we? All the thoughts that come up, all the judgments, all the ideas, all the killing, all the stealing, all the lying. But when you trace it back to the source, when you move beyond the self that you've constructed, that's beyond any concepts, words, or ideas. And in that place, there's no separation, there's no distinction. There we find our true abode, we find our home. We find a home that is fit for us. Yeah? Not some idea of what it should be. Not some heavenly palace paved with gold. We find our actual true abode. Where's that abode right now? Yeah? Keep that in mind. Where else would you like to be? If you can't find enlightenment right where you're sitting, where do you plan on finding it? Yeah? Where do you plan on finding it? So, in that place, there's no difference between ideas and affairs, between inside and outside. And there, the Buddha is born. Internally, permanently, abidingly, unceasingly. We're always giving birth to that Buddha. Buddha just means awakened one. If we want to find our true nature, that's where we're going to find it. But we have to exhaust our thoughts first. Exhaust is always an interesting way of pointing at it, yeah? Because that stream of thinking always is going on. The issue is, we see the train start coming, and we run, and we chase it, we go, wait for me, right? And we jump in, and then we ride it. Yeah? We ride that wave of our judgments, of our ideas. Yeah? We miss the solid landscape of our lived experience. Subjectively, we have thoughts about who we are, thoughts about who we should be, some idea of who we'll be when everything goes well. I'll be okay when, that magical, mystical place that only you thought you knew about, yeah? It's common to all of us who ride this train of discursive thought, all of us who are looking for giving rise to this I. Yeah? So it becomes very, very interesting and compelling that all these reactions, all of these ideas that we generate are giving rise to some sort of image or picture of who we think we are. Yeah? That's what Kyōzan's really talking about here. As a belief, that's all right. That's all right. Sure. You can cling on to that. But if you're going to be a genuine, true person, that's not going to work well at all, is it? Well, you tell me, is it? How does it go? Yeah. When we make those judgments, when we abide in them, yeah. When we separate ourselves into constituent elements and judge them good or bad, push some off into the darkness, pull some into the light, split ourselves up so far that we can't tell whether we're coming or going. You're not a complete person till you pull all of this into the light, till you recognize all of the creative energy that's present and flows through you when you get unstuck. Yeah. Kyōzan would often talk to his students and he would tell them, in my shop, in my little Zen shop here, you can come in and you can get a wide range of goods. Anything you want, we've got it all. Yeah? If you come here looking for mouse turds, we've got plenty of those. I can give you them all day long. Yeah? If you come looking for real gold, I can give you that too. And one of his students chimed in when he was making this statement and said, I don't want the mouse turds. Yeah? Could I have the master's real gold? And Kyōzan said, you can try to bite the head of a flying arrow until the year of the ass, but you won't succeed. The monk couldn't respond to it, so Kyōzan said, if you want to exchange something, if you want to let something go in exchange for it, then we can make a deal. If you don't want to exchange anything, then we can't. Sounds to me like you're still looking for the mouse dung. Yeah. What are you willing to give up in exchange for it? For that real gold. For that real gold of your lived experience. For the deep recognition that who you are right here in this very moment is complete. It's vast and boundless. It's more than you could ever fathom in the first place. You have resources beyond your wildest dreams. Yeah. as long as you work with them creatively, get rid of all of the crystallization around this thing you call I, you're sufficient for every challenge your life brings you. If you're looking for your true self, it's not something for you to find. It's always present. It's always present when you stop looking, because when you look, you naturally and instinctively look in the wrong place. Carl Jung had another way of pointing to it. Carl Jung was a famous father of Jungian psychoanalysis, and he had a book called The Red Book, or Liber Novus. And he has a section called Experiences in the Desert. And he's talking about a dialogue he's having within himself. He talks to his soul, we could call that his true nature. He says, "How, tell me, do you then believe that your thoughts should help you?" How do you believe your thoughts should help you? And he replies, "I would always like to refer to the fact that I'm a human being, and I'm weak, and sometimes I don't do my best." But the soul, or his true nature, responded back and said, "Is that what you think it is? To be human? Is that what you think it is to be the inheritor of everything? How little adept we are at living." He goes on to say, "We should grow like a tree that likewise does not know its law." Let go of those fixed ideas about what you think your life should be, will be, could be. And you find your life where it is right now. I promise you. You walk away with a glimpse of that, and there's no way to go back. Yeah. There's no way to go back. Please don't forget what you've seen here this weekend. You'll have a little halo effect if you don't continue to practice, where you'll continue to see through some of these delusive ideals that are constantly springing up. But if you don't continue to practice, I promise those weeds will grow fast, and they will choke this up. And they'll cover the path that you've already hewn through some of those more complicated undergrowth patterns. Continue on this way. If you don't continue to practice, no one continues to practice. Practice like your life depends on it. You know why? Because your life depends on it.
Thank you for joining us. If this podcast was meaningful for you and supported your practice, please give us a hand by visiting us at oneriverzen.org today.